the only reason why your website development agency is hard to scale is because you are not testing your client acquisition systems. Either it's ads, either it's outreach, cold calling, DMs, DMing, cold emailing, whatever you do, it needs tests. It requires testing, and in this video I'll explain what exactly I mean by that, what most software development agencies do wrong, and how you should be doing this instead. So the idea of testing is simple, that instead of scraping your basically script, cold calling script for example, and replacing with a new one, you should be testing just one variable at a time. If something didn't work for you, if for example, okay, let's use cold emailing because it's pretty much easy to track. So let's say you're doing cold emailing and you're using the same subject line. For example, you're saying like, hey, do you need website? So, and after that, the body of your text, of your email is pretty much the same. But if you see that, for example, you send 100 of those emails and only like 2 people replied to your email with basically the same body and same subject, then you will see, okay, the conversion of this email is 2% reply rate. So what you need to do next is change the subject line. For example, if you see that subject line is one of the things that can actually change something. So you're doing the same basically for another subject line. You're making the same body content, and you're just changing the subject line and seeing what will be the reply rate for the same 100 people. No, sorry, not the same 100 people, but for 100 people, next ones, next 100 people who you didn't reach out yet. But what I mean by same is the same number. It should be either the same time frame. So for example, you're saying to yourself, okay, I'm gonna do this for 1 month, or I'm gonna test this for 1 week, so that the time frame is pretty much the same for all of your tests, and you're able to compare basically fair numbers. And if reply rate is gonna be 3 people or 4 people, then you will understand, okay, this one is performing better. Nothing else changed, just this thing changed, and it's performing better. But in this case, you also need to make sure that the environment is the same and everything else is the same except for your subject line if you're changing subject line. And it applies basically to anything. It applies to cold calling your opening line. It applies to your pitch. It applies to your objection handling. It applies to basically anything, even sales calls, even your ad copy. You are testing all those things everywhere. And the best part with outreach is that you can do those things. You can track those numbers easily and see what's working and what's not by just changing a few things and seeing the actual difference. And after you've noticed that, okay, this one is performing better, then you can actually make this your foundational version, and from there start changing next thing. Maybe you want to change the subject line just a little bit, maybe make it just a little bit better. Maybe you got some idea, so you can do this. You again specify the time frame or the number of emails that you will send without changing anything else. Or if you think that, okay, the subject line is pretty good, but I could try to change my body content, then you can do this. And from there, again, you are doing the same logic. You're saying, okay, I maybe send like 100, 200 emails, and I got like 5 replies from this body content. Then I'm changing a few words there, I'm making maybe a little bit more personalized, and then I got 15 replies. Okay, now it's better. It's definitely what I should continue using. So this is what you do, and you go from there. You're not removing everything from scratch, going to ChatGPT, asking what is wrong with my script, how can I make it better, and getting a completely new script from them. No, you're just changing a few things yourself, because you are the number one person who is having the most amount of communication with your ideal avatar, with your ideal client, because you conduct sales calls, you create those scripts, you chat with them in DMs. Even if you don't, you should be doing at least some conversation, at least sales calls, or at least the delivery part, so you at least have some knowledge about their problems, about their goals, and basically you're kind of always in this environment and able to provide valuable scripts and copywriting strategies for even your team. Even if you delegate all of the stuff, you're providing this for your team. And what I also mentioned about the environment, make sure that environment is the same, because if, let's say, you're working with roofers from one city and then there are roofers in another city, their environment may be different. So ideally you should run tests in the same environment, and it's not just about the city, it's about the time of the day when you're sending this. It's about whatever, like the country, the city, maybe how many clients they've already had if you have this information. Basically, those things should ideally stay the same for all of your tests so that you are able to perform better. Of course, there will never be something completely equal, but you should try to make it as similar as possible. And you always need to change just one thing. This is what we already discussed. Then you see what's working, then you create a new version from there. You compare the numbers, see what's working, what's not. And if both versions are bad, then you're basically creating a new version and you're going from there. This is what you can definitely try out. And this is exactly how you can scale basically to the moon. You can scale to 7 figures, 8 figures, as long as you're of course able to fulfill this. And this is why you ideally need to have one client avatar, because if you have different clients, you will not be able to fulfill basically the same solution, provide the same solution for 2 different people. So ideally you should have them pretty much similar, so that it's easier for you with the sales process, it's easier for you to fulfill, and it's easier for you to scale. And once you basically manage this, once you found a correct script, then you can even utilize the same script in different environments, I would say. I'm not sure how to say, in different platforms. So for example, you're doing cold calling and it's working. Then you're doing it in cold emails as well. Then if it's working there, you can go and do ads. And ads is the best thing that you can do once you're already somewhat scaled. If you're at 6 figures, you can start using ads already and replace your outbound strategy with this. But if you're in the beginning, you better use outbound, and it's the best pretty much thing that you can use for testing. This is why it's even made, because you are able to test for free pretty much, except for paying for the tools that allow you to send those messages or do cold calls or send emails. And once you've tested the strategy, you're basically transferring it to ads or transferring to your content if you want to scale it even further. And from there, you're growing and scaling indefinitely. And if this is what you want to get help with, then connect with me on LinkedIn and I'll help you to create your first or maybe even second or whatever is your number of outbound systems. Basically, I'm helping you to install outbound system for your website development agency that we will perform tests on, just like the ones that I explained, so that we always improve. We already have systems that are working pretty well for website development agencies that are already attracting clients, and we will give you already like not the first version of your script, but like version 100, and from there we will still continue improving, because for your specific case, for your specific environment, this version may be different, but we'll already start not from the first step, but from the step 100. And this is why I guarantee that I can get you from 30 to 50 qualified sales conversations in the next 90 days on a completely pay on results basis, meaning I'm not getting paid if you don't get paid as well. And I will see you in LinkedIn, connect with me there, and we'll chat about this more. See you there.